Hi readers, it's Miss Puziel, and for today's lesson, we are going to be going over critical vocabulary. We're on Module 8, Lesson 8, and the focus question for this week is, what does it take to make a successful invention? So in the previous week, we talked about Thomas Edison, and this week we're going to be discussing someone new. So we're going to go over critical vocabulary today so that we can understand the passage a little more. Our lesson objective is to answer questions and discuss meanings to develop vocabulary. And we're going to do an interactive warm-up to introduce that critical vocabulary. So we're going to go on over to our interactive vocabulary. So the story, or the passage that we're going to be reading is Rosie Revere, engineer. So we're going to go through these words so that we can understand that passage a little more. So Rosie Revere was an engineer, and our first word happens to be engineer. So take a look at this picture and see if you can use any clues to make an inference about what the word engineer means. Take a look at what the people are doing in the picture, make your prediction, and let's find out what engineer means. An engineer is a person who uses science to design and build machines. If you have ever been on a roller coaster or a ride before at an amusement park, it took a really hard-working engineer to help build that. Engineer. The next word is perplexed. So take a look at the boy in the photograph. Notice how he's putting his hands up, how he's scrunching his eyebrows. I know I have definitely felt this way before when I didn't understand something. Think about what this facial expression might mean if you're perplexed about something. So if you are perplexed, you feel confused and worried about something. You're not sure what's happening. Something is confusing you and worrying you a lot. Perplexed. Dynamo. So the next word is dynamo, and that's an adjective to describe somebody. So take a look at this young student here. Look at the game he's playing. Notice the facial expression he's making and the way his hands are in the sky and the way his mouth is open. And let's look at what dynamo means. A person who is a dynamo has a lot of energy and is very good at what she does. So they have a lot of energy, they're exciting, and they're really good at what they do. Try to think if you're a dynamo or if you know anyone else is. Lingers. So if something smells really good like this flower, you might want to linger around it, or maybe the smell lingers and you keep smelling it. Maybe it's around for a really long time. When something lingers, it remains for a long time. If it's lingering around, it's staying there for a while. You might linger somewhere where you like being. Okay, so think of anything else that might linger or a place you might want to linger. World. So we'll take a look at these here. I believe these are windmills and paper windmills, and it looks like they're showing the motion of it whirling. Whirled. Something that whirled turned around several times, and probably very fast too. So whirling means to turn around several times. Baffled. So look at this student here. He's holding his hands up. He's making a really interesting face, kind of similar to perplexed. And he has all these math numbers and letters on the board. So if you're baffled, let's see what that means. If you are baffled, you are confused. So that tells me that baffled and perplexed are kind of like synonyms, except when you're perplexed, you're a little more worried along with being confused. Whereas if you're baffled, you're just confused. So let's practice and see what we know about each word. Okay, here we go. So let's do an interactive activity together. Can you try and use each word in a sentence? Choose 3 and give it a try. So if you want to pause this video, I'd like you to try and use each of these words in a sentence. Try 3 of them and give it a try. So I'm going to use these sentences in a word. Engineer. The engineer designed a new rocket that uses less fuel. So remember, an engineer is a person who uses science to design and build machines. Perplexed. We're perplexed by this math problem and don't know how to solve it. So if you're perplexed by a math problem, it means you're confused and you're worried that you don't know how to solve it. And I think we've all been there where we have felt pretty perplexed and confused when we were solving something. Dynamo. Maria is a dynamo who does twice as much as the rest of us, twice as well. So it's someone who has a lot of energy and they're awesome at what they do. Lingers. After Dad cooks breakfast, the smell of burnt toast lingers in the air. So you might connect to that. Think of your favorite food that someone might have cooked where you live and how the scent or the smell of the food might linger or stay around even when you're done eating. Whirled. Something that whirled, turned around several times. At the amusement park, we went on a ride that whirled high in the air, so turning really, really fast. Baffled. I was baffled by Henry's request for more lemonade since he had a full glass in front of him. Yes, if you're baffled, you're confused. So if somebody already has a full glass of lemonade and then they ask for more, you might be a little confused. So now let's check from understanding. What I want you to do in this deck is, with this blue space here, you're going to put your answers. And you can always pause this video, go back to what the words mean. Now we're going to apply the words. So here are some questions to answer. Is a dynamo likely to sleep late and lounge around the house? Are they likely to be lazy and just sit on the couch and do nothing? Why or why not? Try to support that with some evidence. Is an engineer someone who uses machines or someone who designs or makes them? Explain how you know. Maybe give an example. If you are perplexed, do you have a good idea of what to do? Are you unsure or are you sure? Why or why not? When someone lingers, do they leave early or do they stay a long time? Try and explain. And if something whirled, did it turn in circles or go up and down? So what motion does whirling make? Explain. And then finally, when you are baffled by a map, is it easy or hard to know which way to go? Why? Or anything that you're baffled by, is it easy or hard to figure out? Try to explain. Good luck, and make sure that you pause the video, go back to any spots that you may need to revisit to understand the vocabulary for Rosie Revere Engineer. Great job.